What do you think, Sarah? Shall we commence the show and tell? Since
She's muted.
Yes.
all right, anybody want to go first? No?
Phil's cell phone pictures of the helix.
Maybe, Ed, do you have something on that?
No, I don't.
That wasn't going to be my presentation tonight, but can we talk about that at the end? And if I have another thing that I'd like to present, but that definitely is worth a shout.
Well, we have plenty of time. Go ahead and present whatever you want. You can stack it anywhere in there.
Well, we'll find out if my screen share works.
Well, Julie, if Phil doesn't want to go first, I'll jump in. That's Joe.
Is that okay, Phil? You want Joe to go?
That sounds good.
Fire away, Joe.
But I've got the same issue with screen share as Phil does. See if we can figure out how this is going to work.
All right.
I don't see it working.
I saw you briefly shared while we were doing something before.
Oh, here we go.
There you go. It's trying.
How about now?
Yeah.
Is that good?
There you go. You're on.
All right. I just wanted to give everybody an update on where we stand. It's show and tell, and I think one of the things in the newsletter said Astronomical League programs and general things. So this sort of falls under two categories. Has to do with the spectrographic project I'm working on in conjunction with the spectrograph that Peter and I are working on. So here's kind of a quick review of what we've done to get done in 2021 with getting the spectrograph up and running. First thing was just a little background on what I think we're working on, and that's, as I understand it, the Fort Wayne Astronomical Society wanted to put together a spectrograph that could be used by academics, college kind of level, undergraduates, high school, as well as interested people that are in the Fort Wayne Society. And so in order to do that, we have to put together the spectroscope, and it was originally based on the LX600, the 12-inch LX600 telescope. And in order to get the spectroscope really running, you need to learn all the software that goes into running the spectroscope: camera control, polar alignment, guiding, the spectra acquisition part of it, which is part of the camera software. And then a program to actually reduce the data and analyze it. So all of that had to be done this year, and we've made really good progress on that. In addition, if we're going to have outside organizations working with it, we need to have some workflows and processes put together in order for them to do that. And I think we've demonstrated, Peter and I, a really good set of progress for this year. So just a quick overview of what the spectroscope looks like. And basically, it looks like an imaging train. When you take a look at this block diagram, we have to have either the 12-inch or the 16-inch telescope available for the spectroscope. We weren't really expecting to use the 16-inch, but with the failure of the 12-inch earlier this year, what was that, in September, I think, we've had to change over to the 16. And so that's caused us a little bit of extra work in that the 12-inch had a built-in auto-guiding system, the so-called Starlock, and the 16 doesn't have that. So that's a challenge that we have now, and we're working on that. So we have to get that figured out in order to do some dimmer stars. So the LHI-RES is the spectroscope connected to either one of those telescopes. We have a guide and slit camera called Lodestar, and then the H694 camera to do the data acquisition. That feeds into our data acquisition and guiding PC that you see there over here on the right side. And then all of the software that goes into that is a program called SharpCap to manage the cameras. VSpec and RSpec do the data reduction and analysis for us. Turns out that it's good to have a program to deal with images that are in the FITS format. And I've located a program called AVISFV, not sure what that stands for, but it allows you to display, edit, and get statistics off your images. So very handy. And then in order to write up various reports for it, Office tools, image, word processor, things like that. And as we get into the guiding, we'll be getting PhD2 and the ASCOM drivers up and running, and then to actually figure out where things are in the slit camera, a plate solver, so we can actually point to the right dot that's on the screen. So as I said, pretty much an imaging setup except with LH high res in place of the cameras. So what were our goals for this year? Well, we were to learn the 12-inch LX600 and Starlock, learn the spectroscope in its high-res configuration, and we do have a high-res spectroscope. It's got a resolving power of about 18,000, so that's pretty good resolution. So we've gone through all of this this year, including the wavelength range adjustment, which is just the micrometer setting. We've managed to get wavelength and intensity calibrations done, which is kind of a nice step in putting together your ability to figure out where certain lines are. And in order to do the response curve, in order to get the intensity calibration, rather, we had to do an instrument response curve. And getting that instrument response curve was something that was just recently done. With the failure of the 12-inch, the LX600 12-inch, we did have to jump over to the 16-inch telescope. And one of the things that we've recently done is check the polar alignment on it, and made a very nice improvement in its ability to track. We went from a 5-minute error on the polar alignment to a 30 arcsecond alignment error. So that's a 90% improvement. And when we were watching it the night that Peter and I did that polar alignment, the star appeared to be sitting very still. So a very nice improvement there. And by the way, with the LX600, there's still a chance to participate in the repair of that telescope. So you've got 20 or $50 extra laying around from your Christmas purchases this year. Keep that in mind for something good to do with a little extra money. When that bill comes due, it'll just come out of the society's checking account if we don't have enough money in the fund to get that fixed. So I think we're about halfway in that, maybe a little further, but right about halfway on the fund. So keep that in mind. Let's see. So another goal this year was to start the spectroscopy program, the Astronomical League's program, as a motivator to get this thing going, and we've made some progress on that as well. In fact, through the year, what we've got is 4 of the 22 spectras already completed for that program. So a good start into that. There are 22 spectras that are needed for part 1, and we've got 4 of them. And just a visual summary. In April, these spectra were presented as progress in April, and we were able to manually acquire some spectra. And you can see that's these pieces right here. And then by putting them up against spectra that were in the spectroscopic atlas, we were able to identify some of the major lines. So all of it was manual and very low res, but we did have results. So you see a couple of stars here, and this one is the moon. So we're able to prove that the moon does in fact reflect sunlight.
Hey,
Are you trying to show us something? Because all I see is their second slide on the screen. Showing
It's not coming through?
All I see is the LX600.
Slide number 2.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I've been walking through.
Yeah.
No, if you're walking through slides or anything, we're not seeing that.
Oh, that stinks.
I don't think we missed anything, though.
I mean, we hear
Oh,
what
thank
you're,
you very much. I
we
appreciate
hear what
that.
you're saying. We
Well,
understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
you know, when you start saying, we got this here, and you know, it sounded like, oh, we're supposed to be seeing something.
How about now? Anything?
Now you got,
Now we're on 5.
Five.
Yeah, we're on 5 now.
I think, yeah,
kind of blown up though on our vision.
It's zoomed in, yeah.
Yeah, I think you need to actually run the
Run it.
PowerPoint. You're kind of just looking at it in edit mode.
Yeah, you should run it.
My laptop is not doing me any good then, because I am not getting much response out of my laptop here. I'm not really sure why.
You see that?
How's that? Is that any better?
Look down at the bottom where it says 130%.
Yeah, bring that in a little bit.
Click on that little icon just to the left of 130%.
Yeah, I've got it in presentation mode right now. Now I've jumped out of presentation mode.
Okay, yeah, to us, it doesn't look like it's in presentation mode.
You want to zoom it in a little bit.
Oh, wrong way.
Wrong way, the other way. Make it look
No.
smaller.
Minus.
Oh, you said zoom in. So I was zooming in.
You were zooming
How about
out.
now?
There
okay,
you
that's
How about
better.
now?
That's better.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right. Well, anyway, this is the best part.
All right.
Graphically, it shows that we were able to do some manual captures of spectra. I mean, you know, using the H64 694 camera and the spectrograph itself, we were able to capture the spectra, but no ability to analyze it and determine what we had beyond just the simple lines that were identified in the spectroscopic atlas. So if we manage to get to the next slide,
Mm-hmm.
you see the next slide?
Yeah,
Oh, good. Okay.
we're good now.
So what we have here is a Spectra of Vega that was captured, and there's basically two portions to this graphically. The one on the right over here, you see the image of the spectra itself, along with a line spectra that shows various metals that were captured, or that were identified rather, using the package VSpec. Over on the left, you see a composite of these three that was put together into a complete spectra from about 3,800 up to about 6,800 angstroms over here, and you can see the Balmer lines, the hydrogen lines right here. So basically, we did everything manually at the beginning of the year, and as of October, we're able to use the VSpec package to derotate the raw spectra. We can crop it. We can use it to convert it to a line spectra. We can do wavelength and intensity calibrations, and then with the line library that's available in VSpec, identify various lines that are there. And if the lambda max, if the wavelength max is actually within the capture range of our system, you can identify the temperature of the star. Now Vega is really hot. It's supposed to be about 9,600 kelvins, and that puts the maximum wavelength over into the ultraviolet. And so the wavelength that was captured in this case was only able to predict a temperature of 7,100 Kelvin. So a little bit off, but mainly it's because we really don't get into the ultraviolet very well. And this plus 4 other stars, including the sun, were written up in a format that meets the requirements for the Astronomical League's program. So on the next slide, we get a better look at these. So I'm not sure how well you can read these, but the identification of the Balmer lines are there, and you can see some other metal components along each of these spectras. At least you can see how the raw spectra and these line spectra from VSpec align themselves. And then the second slide, just to highlight the composite line spectra, is the overall spectra of Vega, and that's the one on the top here. And on the bottom is a library spectra of Vega, and you can see that the hydrogen lines match up very nicely, and the general shape lines up nicely. So that's good progress. So we've really made good strides from April to October. So good strides through this year. There's still challenges. There's still things to be done. And going into 2022, what's on the menu of goals for the coming year are to complete the implementation of auto guiding on the RCX 400. We're not going to be able to make we're going to need to make many second long exposures when we get into the dimmer stars. Vega is obviously very bright, and there aren't very many stars that we can take spectra of with exposures that are in the sub-second kind of area. So we'll have to get that auto guiding implemented. Eventually, we'll get the 12-inch back and have to reintegrate it and get the Starlock-based auto guiding going. Through the year, I think we'll be able to get the rest of the 18 images needed, the 18 spectra, to finish part 1 of the Astronomical League Spectra program. And we'll be able to start up a couple of programs, like part 2 of that program. And I think it would be really interesting to look at some variables, and Delta Cephus and Eta Aquila are both relatively short-based variables. It would be interesting to see how the spectra changes over the time base of their peak to minimum changes. So I think that could be on the list. A lot of improvements in documentation we'll need if we're actually going to bring on board some academic group, or even to have others in the club join in on the effort. And I would like to have at least one other person join the team to just expand the opportunity and to show that we're actually able to get other people up and running with the spectroscope. I've found it interesting, and hopefully others would too. So yeah, in addition to that, we could actually start some discussions about adding the spectroscope to public viewing. I've seen some presentations just on some videos that made it look like that we could actually do that. So I think that would be something that would be of interest to the public as far as what stars are made of and all of the other things that you can do with the spectroscope. So that's my show and tell. If you have some questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll turn it back to Julie and on to the next one.
Joe, I got questions.
Yeah,
well,
Ben,
questions and well, you're looking for volunteers. I know I've been kind of out of the loop on this for a while, but I'd like to get back into it. So if you're looking for volunteers, I'd like to sign up.
Good.
You're welcome to be. You're the most knowledgeable person in the club, I think. That
no, Joe, you are. I think you can safely take that title away from me. Just by pure practical experience at this point. I guess maybe we can go offline about this, but I'm really curious on how you generated those response curves you were talking about.
Sure. We can take that offline.
We don't have to necessarily go into this right now, especially if it's kind of involved. Also, I was thinking about that the star, where you measured the temperature of the star, that was based purely on where you saw the peak of the spectrum?
Yes, there's a technique to do that using Ren's law.
Yeah. Where I'm going with this is Ren's law. I don't know really applies in the ultraviolet. I think possibly
it may not.
Huh?
It may not. I'm not expert on Ren's law.
I don't think it fully extends into the ultraviolet, and that was something I touched on when I was talking about quantum mechanics a few months ago to the club. So I think the proper way to do it might be to fit a black body spectrum to do that? And if you send me the data, I can do that for you.
Well, the reason to do the temperature measurement was part of the Astronomical League program, and
Okay.
they specifically say you don't have to do stars that are in the that have their peak wavelength in the ultraviolet. So they let you off on that one. So we could do it.
Okay.
And
No,
there are some
I'm just thinking
tools.
like if we just use a slightly different method for the data, we might get a more accurate number.
I'd be happy to look into that with you. That would be great.
Yeah.
Because this thing has just been drinking from a fire hose, if you will, over the year, and I'm just pleased that I've been able to figure out as much as I have been.
Yeah.
With the various tutorials and things that are available.
Yeah, keep me in the loop,
for
and yeah,
spectroscopes.
don't hesitate if you want to just like call or email and pick my brain for a bit.
Sure.
I don't know if you got my personal number or not, but I can send that to you. Or if you just
That'd be
want
great.
to chat over email, yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's been fun, and it's been surprising at how well the acquired spectra actually match up with the library spectra.
That's
And
really
getting
cool.
the intensity calibration turned out to be relatively easy. There's
That's
tools
really
in
cool.
VSpec and RSpec that let you do that. So pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Very good, Joe. Well presented, and you're going the right direction. So kudos.
Hope so.
All right. Phil, you want to go next, or you want to, what you want to do?
Yeah, I'll give it a go. Here, let me
All
see.
right. You ready?
No, I don't know.
I'll go after you then.
Am I on?
Yeah, I see a bunch of green stars.
That's what I'm quizzing about, green stars. If you Google green stars, this is what you're gonna get. And there's a lot of them. So my question is there green stars? And let me show you a shot. This is M39, and it is an actual color shot that I shot. And the stars, for the most part, and probably on your monitor, are going to look black and white. So I took this shot and I highlighted the stars and pushed the saturation 2 times to 190%, or about 95% gain. So it has about a 200%. And here's what I came up with in color. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know if everybody's monitor sees green stars,
Yeah.
but mine is full of them.
Yeah.
And green stars are right in the, they're kind of the main sequence stars. They're like our sun. Our sun is, I think, got some green in it. But this you never see in the pros. And now I think the reason is on the left is M39 taken by the Palomar Sky Survey, the Deep Sky Survey that was done back in the 50s and 60s. And this is a color shot. It's they shot two narrow bands. It was a blue filter and a red filter, and they shot it, combined the two, and the green on an RGB was interpolated by using the green and or the blue and the red, but you don't see any green stars. And so this does show more stars, and of course the resolution is a lot better. My green stars are pushed and I blurred them a little bit just to bring out the color, but you can see that they're not all green stars. I mean, I got yellow stars, I got orange stars. I don't see really any real red, well, maybe at the bottom, a red star. And the color is balanced. I mean, I did everything to balance the color. So I didn't swing the color. I didn't favor the green in any way. Okay. So are there green stars? On the next slide, I overlaid a good, what is it? The Sky Safari of M39 also. And if I flash it back and forth, can you see my cursor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, this green star here, watch what happens when I bring up, whoops, wrong way. I hope I didn't screw it up here. Okay, you see that star? You see it disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I looked that star up in using just Sky Safari, and there's no data on the color spectra or anything on that. Okay, and it has a GSC, I think, designation, which is Guide Star Catalog. Well, I'm going to call it the Green Star Catalog, because almost all these stars disappear. Whoops, I didn't do it right. All those stars, the green stars particular, disappear. And so I'm wondering if they take a DSL camera that has a true RGB, not a true, but an RGB format, and take it out there, will they discover that we do indeed have stars that are green? That's my question. You can go online and look at the Mars thing. I've looked at their targets that they shoot to balance their photographs out with, and it's really, they're not doing a really good job, in my opinion. Pluto is off in color, and I couldn't find their color chart that they tuned their thing in. So I think that overall, as far as color stars go and the true color of the stars, we're in big trouble with narrowband. It's not showing us what we should be seeing.
You talk about narrowband filter?
Yeah, narrowband filters.
Which ones, Phil? All of them?
All of them, which one might be doing, don't they have a tri-narrowband that does include the green, oxygen 3 or something? But yes, all of them. I cannot balance the stars out. And does the color tell us something? Of course it tells us something. It tells us the damn temperature of the star. And it tells us where it is in the evolution of the stars. But when you go online, there's no green stars. There's a lot of white ones. And they say, well, our eyes sensitive, or those filters are green is I always learned was what our eyes would see. So if I were to shoot through a filter, a color filter, I would shoot through a green filter in a black and white camera to bring them out. But they don't really have a green, except oxygen. What is oxygen 3 maybe?
Yeah.
But it's a true green. So so my question is, am I crazy, or is
Yes.
this technique right? Well,
You
yeah,
beat it
we
to
know.
it.
That's a dumb question. I'm sorry. Yeah. But anyway, that's what I'm open for some fun discussion and just food for thought.
Phil, we need to put the spectrograph on it.
That's what I was thinking.
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
I saw on Joe's slide that the center green part of the spectrum was skipped. They took that, you're after that hydrogen alpha, hydrogen beta line, and you skip the center because that's where the green
No, not
stars
true, Phil.
are in between them.
Not true, Phil.
There's just
What's
no
that?
response. Vega.
We captured from ultraviolet to hydrogen alpha. That encompasses green.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Ooh, well, then I misinterpreted one of the slides.
That could be.
Yeah. So anyway, am I getting green stars?
Do you have any SAO numbers or other numbers on any of these stars? Because
Yes.
if
I
you go into the
probably-
Simbad
do. I do
database,
have, yes.
you could probably find the, what is it, B minus V and other indications of color.
The only thing, the B and the V are narrow band.
Right.
That's true, but that would help identify your green star. There actually are more than the B minus V. There's about 2 or 3 other color indicators. And then if you got temperatures of the stars, we could figure that out anyway too.
I think I'm telling the temperature is pretty close right here. You know, I mean, those should be interpreted, and definitely you can take this photograph into Photoshop and get some pretty accurate what colors are saturating more or less. You know, I mean, I think there might be some interesting data that maybe I'm oversimplifying a little bit. But anyway, that's my question is, where are the green stars? Because I'm certainly getting them. And so that's why I started out with green stars. Do some research on them. It's hard to see why we don't get
Phil,
green stars.
none of my EAA filters or pictures without a filter have I ever seen any green stars. I'm gonna have to go look at all of them carefully and see if I see any.
Okay, yeah. All right, well, that's what I have. I hope-
No, show them your helix picture that you took with the cell phone.
I can try it here, but I don't have
why
it.
don't you, let me see if I can get off. Am I off the screen share?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, okay. There, yeah. All right. No, I'm good. Go ahead.
I don't
Is
know
it
if it'll
Ed?
work
Ed?
or not. Let's try it here. Let's see if it, okay. Okay, can you guys see this?
Oh, there it is,
Yeah.
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 So this was, what, about a week ago? And,
Maybe 2 weeks.
okay.
Yeah, week or 2
Phil-
weeks.
Phil brought us a iPhone, which the cool thing for this, what I think anyways, was that we were using the 16-inch scope and hooked up the image intensifier, and that consisted of a hydrogen alpha filter with the image intensifier. So anyway, Phil with his iPhone just took this shot here, and you can see he has a single image, half a second, ISO 8000, 4.3 millimeter focal length on his iPhone 11. And that's pretty much what visually you can see, which I think is pretty impressive. Does anybody remember what that is? Is that what the brightness of that is? Is it like a 8 or 9 magnitude? The helix?
Yeah, except for it's pretty big, so it's
Yeah,
dim.
big.
Very diffuse. And then what Phil then did was he took a quick series, is the second shot here, and it really brought out everything except the color, which you don't get in this kind of setup here. And see, that was 8 shots, and he was hand holding this. So, I mean, differences in tilt or slight movement or whatever like that. So anyway, 4 seconds total exposure. We're getting a magnitude 9 on a cell phone. So
It's not quite that optimistic. It's integrated 7.6 magnitude, but still it's impressive.
okay. So to me, it opens up new things that what we can do and what we can show, especially on public nights. To see the Ainsleys were there, Pete was there, Phil was there, I was there. And so we all got a look at it. And unfortunately, Phil expanded his shot of the crescent, which was a beautiful shot. And we'll have to try to get that later because it just, the way it just kind of spreads, the kind of the wings of it or whatever like that. So anyways, that's what we were doing. That's what we had a little bit of fun with. So if Phil can get his procedures done, he's the first one I've ever seen who's actually successfully taken a deep sky object through a cell phone. with this tiny little camera there. So,
Well,
okay.
I've seen some successful images from you on North
Oh,
American.
yeah,
North
yeah.
American.
The wide field ones. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That wasn't with a cell phone though, was it? And
I'm sorry.
those shots of yours were not with a cell phone though, were they?
No. I was with an older point and shoot camera. So it had a little bit bigger chip and sensor, a little bit more lens. I mean, when you look at, like what Phil's, I mean, this is cool because everybody always comes out there and they want to say, well, let me hold up my cell phone. I get a shot of that or whatever like that. And I usually kind of discourage it because we waste 5-10 minutes and we never get anything. So
We should mention that definitely we were shooting with an intensifier, an image intensifier. Okay, so that's where you get your, and it was pretty much WYSIWYG. What you see was what we got. And here's the holder that I use. And I found out that I had to put a little piece on certain eyepieces to get the field of view big enough, but it's a phone holder and it centers over the eyepiece so you can get a pretty good lineup. But with that intensifier, it's amazing that we can shoot pretty much what you see in just a half a second with the iPhone.
I can't remember the old days of trying to visually catch that in a 16. I mean, did we just get a faint glimpse of it through the eyepiece, or was it always kind of like, I think I see it, not sure I see it type thing? Does anybody remember actually seeing?
Ed, without your filter, I don't think you can hardly see it at all. The filter is what really makes that helix.
Right. Well, in our Indiana skies, the beautiful thing is the hydrogen alpha filter just gets rid of all that sky glow and the air and the sky and the light pollution, but then you need something to bring it back because you've darkened it so much, and that's why you don't see that many stars around the image here. But it's the way to bring it back. It's kind of a way to deal with our kind of Indiana location. So I'll get off here, stop share or whatever, get out of this thing here. Okay, we're back to Julie.
Yeah, I just mentioned about with cell phones, a lot of cell phones have a live mode where it shoots multiple images. And you can then go in and actually combine all those into a single image. It's about a 3-second exposure. And you can do that right on your phone.
You don't need additional software, Ken?
Mhm.
See, that'd be great. Then people could actually do it on their cell phones and actually, go home with something.
I don't remember all the buttons to push, but I know I've done it on my phone. But you can go into that live photo edit mode and you can find it, how to do it.
Something to look forward to next year, I'm guessing.
All righty, I'm gonna try to bring up my stuff. Uh-oh. I want to share my desktop. Where the hell's the desktop?
Oh, by the way, did anybody see Ben's thing, Phil? It says, sadly for Phil, there's already a green catalog that's devoted to supernova remnants.
Really?
Well, Phil mentioned doing his own catalog, so maybe we can start the Hudson catalog or something.
Okay, why is it?
It'll save a lot of time.
But the name Green Catalog is unfortunately already taken.
Am I sharing?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody doesn't know, I went to see my daughter and my son-in-law, first time in 2 years because of COVID. And we went to a few places. We went to the Tower of London, and we spent 3 hours there. And we had some time left over. We got over to the Greenwich, England, which is also in London area. And so we got there and it was kind of late, and we did the poor people thing. We did all the free stuff there. So, there's stuff you can do free, and there's a little extra stuff you can do for a charge. So we did the freebie stuff because it closed right after we went through some of that. So this is a chronometer they have by the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, England. where GMT time started. So I got that off the internet. So they talk about Greenwich Mean Time, solar mean time at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich, London, counted from midnight. And in the past was counted different ways, being counted from noon. As a consequence, it cannot be used to specify a particular time unless the context is given. The general term GMT is also used as one of the names for the time zone. And UK, it's basically a civil time in the United Kingdom. UK developed an advanced maritime nation. British mariners kept at least one chronometer on GMT to calculate their longitude of the Greenwich Meridian. So there they actually have a line going through that area, which is the Greenwich Meridian, which became the International Meridian in 1884. So it goes on a bunch of mishy-mashy stuff. It became like a standard of time until later on in 1972, the daily rotation is irregular of the Earth, and they went to atomic clocks. So that's when UTC time came along, Universal Coordinated Time, maintained by atomic clocks in the world. So they talked about the prime meridian of Greenwich time. So here's the building on top, and there's actually a line here that goes through there. You can stand on either side of the meridian. So that's what I did. That's the top is up here, and it comes down to the side of the building and goes out. So the poor people were down here with me, standing on the free line, and up here would be where you pay. So, and then I had them, this is my daughter, Elizabeth, my son-in-law, he's English, Jack, and they stood on the line and had a smooch for me. So that was cool. So there they also have the Royal Observatory. They call it the ROG, known as the old Royal Observatory was from 1957 to 1998. They had it, there was I think it was a 28-inch observatory. So there's a dome and the building. I took this picture. We got to go in there free. So it's a 28-inch telescope. It's a lot of metal, and it's a pretty good telescope. They used it. Here I am standing here, and the dome and all the structure. And they had this here picture of the guy almost laying down looking through the telescope. And I guess they used it a lot to observe double stars. And they measured the changing separation of stars over time, data to calculate the combined masses. They had all kinds of plaques on the wall. So they don't pretty much use it anymore. But they had other telescopes over time. And one of them they talked about, and I didn't really get a picture of it because it was just like stones around a hole out in like a little garden area, where it actually was, they dug a hole, and 75 feet of it went down, and it had stone around it, and then they went another 25 feet down, and it was just earth, and they had a spiral staircase going up, so it was 100 feet in the ground, and the guy laid on his back at the bottom, and he looked up through an eyepiece, and the only thing he could look at was the stars that went over the hole. So it was I don't know what the hell they were doing there, but he could look at, through the eyepiece at the stars going over, and they did some kind of measurements between the position and the vertical of the peak or something. So I don't know. So,
Hey, Julie,
yeah.
what's that? Says first class assistant. How many classes do they have?
I don't know.
guy in the hole, is he a second class or?
No, this is the telescope. The other one I don't have a picture of. It's the one, there's one guy that would go down in the hole and lay on his back and look up through there and study stars. Only the stars that as they passed over it would go over that telescope. The hole was the body and the lens was at the bottom. So it was very not too useful, say at the point. So I didn't quite get what they were doing with that. So, and this is my daughter and my English son-in-law. So this is just a short thing I put together. And then they had some unique timepieces in the other part of the museum. They had like unique clocks and watches. They had stuff, their first digital watch and all kinds of chronomical timepieces and everything there. So it was just an interesting place to go, especially seeing the observatory and seeing the chronometer and the line. This is it was, I guess it became a stainless steel line. It was made things copper, and they put a GPS receiver here, and they found out that their Meridian line was like 100 something meters off with GPS. So it's like 300 feet off. It's on this hill. It's in a park area, and down the hill is the Navy College where all the naval captains and the naval officers went to school there on the Thames. Not the sailors, but all the Navy officers. So this tied into their naval and all the charts. Let's see, I skipped over a bunch of stuff. In here it says something, where was it? It was established. This was established by Sir George Airy in 1851. By 1884, over 2/3 of all ships and tonnage used it as a reference meridian on their charts and maps. So they decided to make this is the 0 reference line and longitude. And then the GPS was the 0 time, and then the rest of the world, you know, like we're plus 5 hours minus, but now it's referenced to UTC, which is referenced the atomic clocks, and before it was calculated to the sun and lunar positions. So I'm not an expert on it, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and I just threw a couple pictures. I did this in about an hour today, so something for show and tell. So I don't claim to be an expert. And Phil, what was that big telescope the model you made with it was a big frame and it had this really tall telescope that we built a model of in the History Museum?
Helvellyn.
Helvellyn. Well,
Yeah, telescope.
yeah, well, they had the bottom piece of that because they took it down and it was destroyed, except they saved the bottom piece. And they had that in the yard outside there, the bottom piece of it. And it's a bit, you know, that's the only piece that survived. Of course, it's just sitting out there painted black. So anyway.
I wish you had a picture of it.
Yeah, I didn't take it. You know, I'm bad for that. This time I tried to be better about taking pictures because I'm too busy looking at stuff and don't stop to take the pictures. But the Tower of London, I took a lot of pictures, and I won this one building where they have an armory. It's like 4 or 5 stories. And once you start taking pictures, you can only see armory so much. They had King Henry VIII and all his armory and plexiglass, the horses' armory, the cannons, all the swords, you know, and all the artillery weapons and guns and everything else. You get like system overload after a while. I mean, how much armor can you look at? And then they had the prisons, and they had the graffiti on the wall covered with plexiglass where all these guys were in prison waiting to get their heads chopped off. And they were carving, you know, all kinds of elaborate stuff in the castle and everything. So if you ever go to England, that's a nice thing to see, the Tower of London. And they had the pit where they cut off all the heads and everything, you know. So usually people that went to the Tower of London were like princesses and kings and traders and, you know, people with money. The other people went in the woods where they just whacked the head off, and, you know, that was it for them. So so anyway, that's just threw something together anyway. I thought it'd be kind of interesting. So that's all, folks, on that. So hopefully somebody else got something
I
better.
have a question.
Yeah.
What does a pint of beer go for now?
Yeah. I don't, what was it?
You didn't buy?
Oh, yeah, I bought, but I just threw money.
I
I
didn't
don't
know.
know. I just hand my son-in-law, I hand him money, you know, a bunch of coins, pounds and stuff. I tell him, go pick me out some beer. He knows what I like, you know. Or I use my American debit card.
I didn't know if
Buy
inflation
meals and
went over
stuff.
one pound sterling for a pint an hour. You know, with the inflation and everything. Just
Yeah, a pound. Like I bought a friend of mine a 40-pound hoodie, and that equates to like $50 American. It's like $1.50 something per pound. So I don't know. It depends on where you go. In a bar, it could be 5, 6, and a fancy restaurant, it could be more.
Exchange rate's gotten closer then because Julie actually did the same trip in 2018. I went to the Greenwich Observatory then as well.
Yeah.
And I remember the exchange rate being about $1.80 to a pound. So
Wow, that's even more.
yeah, everything for me was really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, even if you're going to McDonald's and then you say, oh shit, you know, you look at how much you spend. So it was fun. We did the peaks, which is like a national park in England, the highest point. We walked a lot of miles in a valley with the hills and everything, and we went to the through London into the Tower of London and the bridge and everything, and the Thames, and then we did that. We went to another place where it's interesting, where they had before the Civil War, the English guy built a manufacturing facility that took cotton from Egypt and India, and later on from the South, and it mechanically they took a water from a lead mine, and it ran down the hill, and it turned the wheel, and the wheel will turn all these mechanical things that blocked the cotton, you know, stretched it out, and then it stretched it and then put it on bobbins. So he had a whole system of shipping it all over the world. And he made some jokes one time. He said, I can pay off the current English debt at the time many times over. So he lived a ripe old age of 59, and they were trying to steal all his patents. So he was smart enough that he licensed a lot of his manufacturing. So the guy was, you know, just so rich and powerful at the time. But he would hire people and had them move to there, and he liked to hire the kids. They'd work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, because he could pay them very little, and then the women a little bit more, and then the men, you know, a little bit more than that. So like 70% of his workforce was little kids, and he worked the hell out of them. So anyway.
Glory
Hey.
days, feudalism.
Ed, the Google says $1.34 per pound right now.
That's what I was thinking, about a third.
Yeah. It varies. Well, but when you go to exchange money, sometimes it's more.
Right, they always take advantage of it.
Yeah, you're supposed to exchange it at home. You get a better rate at home before you go over.
Yeah.
Like if you go to Canada, they always, if you don't exchange your money, the merchants really rip you off on the US dollar.
Yeah, I usually buy a little bit at one of the banks before I go, and I like to have 150, 200 pounds on me when I hit the land. So anyway, so it was nice. I had a good time. So back to astronomy. Anybody else have anything to share, or how we doing? 8:36. Did I put everybody to sleep?
I got a little something.
Go ahead.
Oh, you woke up.
I got something if you want.
Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to, I had a long day, I was falling asleep.
Yeah, your
Yeah,
internet's a little
Um,
bumpy. Go ahead.
yeah, it's gonna be. Okay. Yeah, I got a little gadget. I don't know if you can see it, but help. Where are we? Okay. There we go. You see this? Yeah, it's a little Bluetooth adapter, and it lets you hook your Sky Safari up to your mount, and it was only $50, and it shipped from actually the Ukraine, right? So Ed was razzing me about that, but you know, from Russia with
Good love.
love, I guess, you know. So it worked pretty well, and you know, I can stop the share, but like on Sky Safari, kind of what you do is like, okay, that's Sky Safari, right? And you go to, if I can do this, you hit scope, right? And then it's on scope, and then you just like hit a target or something. And let me get the next target up here. Okay, I gotta pick one here. Yeah.
Remotely
Okay.
controls your telescope, if I remember right.
Yeah, it remotely moves it, but say we'll pick this asteroid. Okay, so now it's centered at the asteroid Sirius, and if I go to next object, yeah, it'll go to it. I don't know. Trust me, it works. It's hard to do it on the screen without having a scope here, but
Am I the only one that
I don't
can't
know.
see it?
It worked pretty well for me. So that's my 2 cents, you know.
All right.
Very good.
So I think I'm going to buy one that's going to work on the Losmandy G11, and you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll even buy one that's going to work somewhere else. So we'll see what happens.
Julie, I got one more. If you're ready to something else, move on to something else. I'll try anyway here.
Go ahead.
I sent this out earlier today to Jim, and let's see. Oh, gotta hit this.
Yeah, I woke up now for your presentation. It's good, Ed.
Yeah. It was down about a week or so ago at the John Glenn Astronomy Center down there in Logan, Ohio. And the unfortunate thing is it's about 220 miles from here, as opposed to what Brown County is about, what, 170 or 180. This is the front of it when you pull up to it. And this is their parking lot. They don't require reservations anymore, but it's a fairly small parking lot on big nights that you you'd definitely have, people parking in the boonies or whatever like that. So this is, you drive up here. I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but this is their main telescope. I think their only telescope other than the private member ones is in this one here. I think they have a 26-inch reflector. Little picnic table here, and then a bathroom facility here. And I took these pictures just I wanted to see what they had. And this is the main plaza that you walk in here. And they've done a flagstone thing. There were some brick pavers and some other insets and stuff like that. You can see in the middle here, there's like a concrete table. They also have electrical outlets around the sides that people can plug in. These walls are 5 foot high. So if you set your scope up pretty close to that wall, you can block whatever light. Now down here, light's not really an issue. But anyways, this is kind of the actual overall design. And these, I didn't realize that these are precast concrete slabs or whatever. Does anybody know what these things price out at? They're 5 foot high and I don't know, about a foot thick or something like that. Massive. And what are they, like 2 pieces, and there's a locking piece in the middle? But and the only thing that they did really for a fancy thing here is they did some stone work here, masonry work up here. This is the east. This is the equinox thing there. These cutouts is for when the sun passes through the kind of like the heliotek thing, when the sun would pass through it every year. So that's what you can see them. There's on each end there's 4 of them for the equinoxes, and then the summer and winter solstice. And they also did this is the back of the front wall. Excuse me for zipping here, but this wall here with the logo on there. They also, with a fundraising idea here, they this is called the constellation Leo, the Leo donors. So it's all these guys' names, kind of like the one where we walk into the StarQuest Observatory here with the various names of the donors and stuff there. One way to pay for some of the thing there. And here's the other thing there on their pavers. They have little donation blocks, whatever like that. I'm sure everybody's seen these before, where you can, for so much money, like I'd get your name stamped in as a donor there and be there for a good number of years. The center part here is, this is supposed to be, this ball and there is the relation of, it's supposed to be the dimension of the Earth, and then this whole plaza, which I don't have in front of me, I think it's like 80 feet, is supposed to be the dimension of the sun. So something they do for the marble plaques. I don't know how they attach them. They're pretty heavy there, but they did actual marble plaques or stuff on like that. Anyway, a nice little park, whatever. Like, I don't know what they do if they're down there every Saturday or every weekend, and it's just a local group or whatever. It's 1 mile from the Hocking Hills State Park, which is a big park down there. And I know we have several dog owners here in our club there, so you can see it's a dog-friendly park. You let your dogs romp down, and a couple of nice little falls there. And several of you have been down there before, I think. It's about like a 3.5 mile hike from the parking lot here. This is the Upper Falls, through Old Man's Cave, then down to, I think it's Cedar Falls. So about a 7 mile round trip. So anyways, I just thought I'd show that to people here. With the idea, it'd be nice if someday we would come up with something. We don't have to do this. You can already see it got grass growing in through some of the cracks. So I don't know what the prep or what the base is, but it would be nice if we could pave off some of our thing around the concrete pads or something like that, and maybe get away from the water, put up some wind blockage and maybe some light barriers. So anyways, that's what I wanted to share. So,
Hey, Ed, who owns that, or who runs that? Is that a state park?
It's off the state park property. I think it's an independent group. I don't know if it's the Columbus Astronomy Club or a local group. They do have some sites on there. Check up John Glenn Astronomy Park and go through some of the results that may say exactly who they are. They're not that far from West Virginia. They might get some people from Marietta and West Virginia too. I don't know.
And you're saying that's just within a couple miles?
I like,
Yeah, it's like 1 mile down the road from the main entrance to Hocking Hill State Park, which is there, Brown County.
Hocking Hills is spread over a huge area. There's just chunks of it here and there and everywhere. But you said the Old Man's Cave, so it's real close to that.
Right. Yes, it's on part of that 3.5 mile hike or whatever it is there, let you go down along that stream bed there. And then, yeah, it's more like what do you call that? It's not really a cave. It's more like a whatever carved out thing, whatever. Anyway, some old hermit lived there back in the late 1700s or whatever like that, you know, and then that's why they call it Old Man's Cave. There's several other things down there too. They got a new zip cord line there for you athletic, adventuresome people. You want to do zip lining and stuff. A lot of campgrounds, a lot of cabins. If you wanted to go down for a weekend or something like that, you know, you could make a nice place to go.